Yo, 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 yo. Y'all know what time it is, man. It's Truck and Chubby, man. Y'all know this is Steelers talk, but in the Steelers talk, I like to talk about the whole AFC North. I'm a Steelers fan. I love my Steelers. And that's just what it is. But I also like to, congratulate and look at the whole AFC North in totality because obviously we play a lot of these teams, and the more that you're able to look into your opponent and know what your opponent poses, then you'll know when you get into an argument with it with somebody else. I think it's ignorant for people to just know so much about your team but have no inkling or any idea about what your opponents pose towards your team. You know what I'm saying? So you could say that y'all gonna beat us and or whatever, but when we face each other, you have no idea what's going on. I like to know a little bit about my opponents, and shout out to the AFC North. So this is, I guess you could say, AFC North talk. You know what I'm saying? And I want to start off with the Cleveland Browns because I get a lot of Browns fans who pay attention and not watch me. A couple of Browns fans. So shout out to y'all, man. Much love to the Browns fans. I respect the rivalry. Now, when it comes to the Cleveland Browns, I see y'all 3-10 record. Y'all, yeah, it's trash this year. This year is scrapped. And y'all already looking and trying to build towards next year. But believe it or not, behind the scenes, us as fans, even being a 10-3 team, about to lock down a playoff spot, we're already looking ahead till next year too. Behind the scenes, you got the GMs and everybody's doing the same thing. College football is almost over. The season's pretty much over. There in bowl season right now. You're looking at a couple of seniors. You want to work out a couple of players that'll be leaving, grad students, so forth and so on, right? You want to get the looking around. The Browns right now, I think, are gonna have a hell of a draft pick, right? Jameis Winston is a hell of a motivator. He's a hell of a team leader. You cannot let that go out of your building. I think it'd be so unwise as a Brown for any Browns fan to want Jameis Winston gone. Now, should he be a starter for the Cleveland Browns? In my opinion, no. It's just something that's always hindered him is these interceptions, and that's because he's not afraid to let it go. He's not afraid. He's a gunslinger, and that's just what he is. He's not afraid to let it go. He's going to let it go, and he's going to trust his receivers and trust the route that they're running. And I think that him being that way and that, is why he runs into those interceptions like that in the game. Now we get to talking about him as a starter. Now I don't think so, but him as a leader. Now let's talk about Jameis Winston as a leader on it. See, that's different because he's brought life back to that team. That team wants to play for Jameis. They love playing for Jameis, and I think that he can use that to bring in rookie. See, I got what is it? Thomas and Robinson there. Thomas Robinson or ever. I got him there. DTR. Now, having DTR in there, I don't know if DTR is ready to take over to him just yet. Had he been, I think he'd be in there right now playing, and Jameis Winston wouldn't be in there. So that lets me know that DTR is still not ready. Now, why is he still not ready in his second year in the league is beyond me. See, and that's why that's why you keep him around, but you got to keep Jameis Winston. So that's two quarterbacks, right? And you get no matter discount. You still got DTR on his rookie contract, somewhat might be in what they like his last year or something like that. Browns fans in the comments, I could let me know. Shore me up on that. But also looking at Jameis, you got to keep him there for that leadership, the motivation he brings to a team. That's a valuable asset to have in the locker room. Believe it or not, that's I think it's worth every dollar to have a football player that could come in as your second string quarterback, win you a couple games, but also keep the team motivated around whoever is starting, right? And you want a rookie quarterback. Y'all gotta go after a quarterback, Browns. I think that's the main position that y'all are missing is a quarterback. I don't know, like we don't know if DTR is going to get it. Can he get it in the off season or not? I think so. A lot of this has to do with knowing your placement and knowing your plays, the ball placement. That's what I meant by placement. And eh, knowing your teammates. I think he can get that down in the off season, but it's a stretch to get that. So if I'm the Browns, I think y'all need to go after a quarterback in this draft, and I think that there's a few quarterbacks out there. I know there's some diamonds in the rough out there. Um, that's definitely could get the job done for the Cleveland Browns. Now, what quarterbacks do I think that they can get? Now I normally probably wouldn't even go here and do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway, right? So I look at quarterbacks like Seth Hannigan, right? I think Seth Hannigan is a quarterback that is way overlooked, right? Seth Hannigan right now has got 3,208 yards on a 10-2 team for Memphis that is going bowling. I don't know if he'll start in that game. He's got a what 65 percent completion percentage. That is I think he has the same completion percentage as Carson Beck right now. Now you can go after a big name like Carson Beck, but I think Seth Hannigan is a for sure pick, a pick that is hungry, a pick that I don't know if y'all spend the first. Y'all won't probably have to spend a first round pick on Seth Hannigan. I think Seth Hannigan will be out there in his second, third rounds, because him playing in Memphis, or maybe not to if he goes to the combine and he throws well against the air and shows up and runs well, I think that he'll probably move up. He's 6'3", 215. Smart guy, very smart athlete. The way he runs that offense, he can move. He definitely can move. He's mobile. He's got 23 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I think that's a quarterback out there. I don't think that that's more of y'all speed, but I'm just saying that's a quarterback out there. I think that is overlooked right now. Dylan Gabriel, I think he's a first round pick. I don't know if Dylan Gabriel will be able to. I think he's the best pick for the Browns, actually, right? I think Seth Flanagan's a good pick for the Browns. I think in the later rounds, if they want to like shore up different positions, if they want to go and grab, I don't know if they want to spend it on a first round pick for a running back or a first round pick receiver. If they want to go high and go get a nice receiver, I don't know. Travis Hunter may be available around there. I don't, you know what I mean? That they'll probably have one of the first 5 picks or something like that. So in the first 5 picks, the Browns can go and get and shore up somebody like that. But if you want to spend your first round pick on a quarterback, I think Dylan Gabriel would be the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Um, to be honest, the perfect quarterback will be Shador Sanders, but I think the Raiders are actually tanking their season to go ahead and grab Shador. And plus, they said they don't want him to play in the cold. That's what Deion Sanders said, and I think that's going to hurt him and Travis in the long run. But believe it or not, I think you're going to get drafted whatever you get drafted at. And if I could draft Shador Sanders or Travis Hunter, I'm going to draft him, and then I'm going to trade, and then I'm going to get your first round pick, your second round pick. I'm going to get a lot of picks for Travis Hunter or Shador Sanders. This is a business, um, and I think that's the way that'll roll. But back to the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. Um, Dylan Gabriel. I think he's your guy. I think that Shador Sanders is tough. He's very tough. Dylan Gabriel hasn't been hit much. He's only been sacked like 12 times this year, but Shador's he had a back surgery, but he's been hit a lot. Um, I don't think that Shador or Cam Ward may be there if the Cleveland Browns get the second pick. And I don't think that they're tanking their season. I think they're playing their season out. You know what I mean? I do think that they'll have a top 10 pick, but I just don't see the Cleveland Browns rolling over. I don't think that's how the dog pound rolls. I don't think that that's in their pedigree as fans, neither as the one to tank their season to get a quarterback. You know what I mean? They're going to take whoever's there after they finish the season out. They got too much pride in Cleveland, I think, to just roll over for a draft pick. I don't, you know what I mean? There may be some fans out there screaming at this point, but that's just because they're frustrated with the way that this season has gone for them. And but I just don't see that happening. Not in the AFC North. Anyhow, Dylan Gabriel, he's the guy. He's the most besides Shador Sanders. I think that Dylan Gabriel, yes, his size, he's only 6 foot. I think they got him listed at 6 foot. He might be like 5'11", but he's very mobile with that run game that y'all can provide over there in our offensive line. I think Dylan Gabriel is your guy. He can move, he's mobile, he can make all the throws, very smart on the fly, can change plays at the line of scrimmage. And I really like that. I don't know if Garrett Nussmeier is coming out. I think he's going to spend another year in there, 6'2", and I think him going back to college. At this point, with the way that they're getting paid in college, I won't be mad at that. But coming out, other than that, I think if you're going to spend another first round pick, I do think that Jackson Dart is worth this first round pick. 6'2", 225. He come from the SEC. He's used to that tough ball play. He's been sacked 25 times, so he's a tough quarterback to get back up and then continue on finishing out that season. And you're gonna need a tough quarterback to come in the AFC North and being able to play. And Jackson Dart can also move. He's another mobile quarterback. I think that a lot of people that sleeping on quarterbacks. Well, Chandler Morris is coming back. I think he'll be back for another year. He's only 6 foot, but he played for North Texas. Think he's coming back. He'll be playing another year in college football. But yeah, those are my picks right there. I think so right there. Those are my guys. Malik Murphy got a couple more years to come out 6'5", and y'all know he can run like crazy. But yeah, that those are my two guys right there for the Cleveland Browns at quarterback. Seth Hannigan, I think, a fit there, and Dylan Gabriel are my top two for that team, or maybe even Jackson Dart. So we'll go to three: Jackson Dart, uh, who did I say? Seth Hannigan and Dylan Gabriel. I think are the three quarterbacks for the Cleveland Browns if they wanted to go there. All right. Now for the Cincinnati Bengals are just having a bad year. They're just having a bad year. They got the quarterback letting go Joe Mixon. I think Chase Brown had to come in and form his own identity. They're just having a bad year right now. And the Cleveland Browns are um position wise, as far as the Cleveland Browns, looking around at that team, it's hard to say what they need because they're still putting up all the points. You know what I'm saying? They're still putting up all the points. I think they just need a bigger back. I think the Cleveland Browns need a bigger back. I think they do need a back who can withstand the time. And I don't know if Chase Brown can do that. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that he can't. I just think they need a back. They just need to be able to, because they're scoring at will and that So I guess you would say defense, right? We want to look at the defense and say that defense needs to be able to make stops. And that's one thing that they're not able to do. So the Cleveland Browns, I think, need another edge rusher. I think they need to be able to provide more pressure on a quarterback. They did a great job doing that against Dallas last night, but I think that I can't remember 91's name. That's crazy. He's in our division too. But Henderson. Henderson needs a co-part on that edge. Um, and if you could go and get a top defender, whether that be an edge or whatever that may be for Cleveland to get, if they want to go edge, I think, or if they want to go um cornerback or whatever. So speaking of those names right there, I think Antoine uh Powell Ryland, the senior from Virginia Tech right now, is a good pick for the Cincinnati Bengals, excuse me. Cincinnati Bengals, 6'3", 252 pounds. Right now he's leading, I think, a power five. There's only other no there's Donovan, I can't pronounce his last name. He's from Boston College, 6'2", 247. But I think that Power Ryland is a little bit heavier, a little bit stronger than what Donovan is. I guess we'll see after this season. We'll see what's going on with that. But you got Prince Ume um, from Ole Miss, 6'4", 255. I think that's more of the Cincinnati Bengals speed right there. Because you got us, the defense has to be able to get stops. Now, do they need a hole plugger? I don't know. I don't know if they need a hole plugger or not. You know what I'm saying? I don't, I haven't followed that team or looked at that team in depth enough to know if they need a hole plugger or not. But I know they need to be able to get more stops on defense and be able to stop something. So they may be looking at getting a defensive back. Like I said, if I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I think they want to take the top defensive player, no matter what that is, whether that's a DB, whether that's a edge rusher, whoever the top defensive player is in the draft at that point in time. I think that they need to take them. Now, since you have some veterans, I thinking and giving it more thought, right, as I'm going, because as I could tell, I didn't write this down. I'm straight up making a video the way it is, raw, real, and uncut. I think you want to go DB. So looking at some of the DBs in college football that may be coming out, I think the best one The best one right now, I think, is Trey Almost from Ole Miss. 6'1", 190 from Louisiana. I think he may be the best one. He's a senior. I don't know if he's coming back, but if he's available, I think you want to go after him. He does not have, because Travis Hunter obviously won't be there, but he does not have the most picks. I think he's only got 3 interceptions, but he has 13 batted passes. He's balling out of control right now, and he's leading the whole Power Five in football right now, Power Five division, and passes defended. And I think that's a stat that you want to look at for the simple fact, like if you're going to look at that, right? So the passes defended, it's not interceptions, but that means that he's batting them balls down. And that's what you want. You know what I mean? And he's a good tackler. He's a decent tackler. He's had what, 47, 30, 36 solo tackles. That's not bad for a defensive back. Um, Now I think there's another good DB up at Toledo right now, but I think he's only a junior. I believe he's a junior. Avery Smith from Toledo is only a junior. I don't think that's out of the question of going being able to draft a cornerback or DB. Also, Boise State got a nice cornerback on Mario McCoy. He's a senior. I think he'll be coming out from California, straight dog from Cali, 51 solo tackles. And he also is in, like, I think he's tied for passes defended, 1 interception. That means that they're not throwing his way a lot. And when they do, he's batting the passes down. Travis Hunter gets a lot of that glory and being noticed to do that. But there's a lot of people out there. I think Jabbar Muhammad from Oregon, I think he's coming out this year, 5'10", 185, playing on the number one defense out there. So DB for the Cincinnati Bengals, I think that's where they want to go because they want to be able to stop that pass. I think they're um if you want to go with a leader in the middle, they can, but I think they pretty much got that. I think when you're able to pass on a team like that, that's where you want to go to. So I think you start from the top down if you're the Bengals. I think you want to go after one of those guys. I think Trey Olmos from Ole Miss, Omarion McCoy from Boise State, or Jabbar Muhammad from Oregon. I may be one of those guys for the Cincinnati Bengals if they're available. A lot of defensive players came off the board fast last year. Offensive players, quarterbacks, and defensive players go first. So we'll see what happens with the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the Baltimore Ravens. I think the Ravens they absolutely have to go with their DBs. That's the one position. That's the main thing that they need. At Cincinnati. Baltimore. They without a doubt need a defensive back. So either one of those guys I named for the Bengals can go for them. But there's also other players that's out there. Like you got a Devin Ross, I think from Memphis. I think he'll be out there in the later rounds unless he runs incredibly and he shows amazing speed. I think he'll be out there. Later, he maybe get jump up in the draft depending on how he run. He got 11 pass defended, 3 interceptions. And that's what you want to look at, like, right? You really want to look at that. But Noel Williams is definitely somebody who's picking the ball off for sure, hands at cornerback, um, lockdown type of guy. I mean, they throw in his way, obviously, and I guess that counts against people when they say they're not throwing against you or they're throwing to you. And he's got the reps, you know what I'm saying? Because I guess if you're looking at somebody like and this always kind of leads back to Travis Hunter, right? In some kind of way or fashion, because a lot of people say that Travis is the best. They don't throw his way, and when they do, he's picking it off. Well, I guess you can make the argument in saying that when you throw Noah Williams' way, he's either batting it or he's picking it off. But for sure, he's picking it off because he leads the whole Power Five in interceptions with 7 interceptions. That's incredible to get 7 interceptions. I think the year that I want to say what was it, the year that Charles Woodson won, did the Heisman, didn't he have 7 interceptions in that season, also some touchdowns? So 7 interceptions, that's a lot of interceptions to get in one year. That's a lot. And he has 50, and on top of that, he got 32 solo tackles, 8 passes defended. Noah Williams is a straight up dog from California. A straight up dog. A straight up dog. And I think that that's definitely Baltimore speed. Um, I don't know if he'll be available. I know for sure he's probably one of the top guys that's being looked at as coming out. Mello Dotson from Kansas. He's another guy, senior 6'1", 190. I think Travis Hunter put some work on them. So I think that they got some things to pick up with. You got the safety Xavier Watts. I think that Xavier Watts will fit that team because you got Kyle Hamilton back there. To have Kyle Hamilton and Xavier Watts from Notre Dame, both two Dame guys back there, that chemistry back there with them alone, I think that'll help. He got what, 5 interceptions, 31 solo tackles, 50 so they putting their head in there. And see, I like guys that do that. I like guys that are able to get in there and make tackles. See, it's one thing to say that when you're not throwing somebody's way, but when they're batting the ball down. But if they're batting the ball down, getting interceptions, and you got 50 to 36 solo tackles, you know what I'm saying? Like, that counts for something. Travis Hunter has 20 solo tackles. He got 31 assisted tackles, um, 11 batted passes and 4 interceptions. You know what I'm saying? Um, so kind of, if he's ranked as being the best defensive back, then you got to look at other DBs and kind of compare that his stats to theirs. And he's the barometer right now. Travis Hunter is, and you look at what he's doing, and then you see what other guys are doing around him, right? Like Kobe Bryant. I don't know if Kobe Bryant from Kansas is coming out, but there's a couple of guys for them. At Baltimore, definitely, without a doubt, got they got a problem, not too bad, but they got the best problem though. They got the best problem. They got the best problem, man. Sean Dolak from linebacker position, maybe helping Baltimore from Buffalo, a senior, super senior, leading the whole nation in tackles, 76 solo tackles. Um, and he knows how to he got a knack for the ball too. So who knows? And he's gonna be hungry because he comes from Buffalo. I mean, not to say that those guys aren't, but I think that you get a lot of guys that don't get a lot of the spotlight, but they want to work harder. And I think that that's a good pickup too, maybe at linebacker for them. Who knows? But for us, looking forward to my Pittsburgh Steelers and what we're able to provide and what do we need and the things that I'm looking at for my Pittsburgh Steelers, man. Obviously, we need a cornerback. Um, we need cornerback help, and I think we only need cornerback help because I don't know if Dante Jackson's going to be a free agent. Like we don't know if James Daniels, our offensive guard, is going to be a free agent. I think we got to lock him up first. Dan Moore, the offensive tackle. Russell Wilson is going to be out. Justin Fields is going to be out. Najee Harris, Mike Williams, all those guys are free agents, I think, after this season, right? And we got to look at that. And I think without a doubt, we want to bring back Justin Fields, man, because that late, I don't know if that late in the draft we're going to be able to replace that kind of quarterback, man. Um, he can get the job done, man. And the guys are starting to warm up to Justin, man. The guys are starting to warm up to Justin. Justin's starting to get the feel of how things work in Pittsburgh. And I think he's comfortable. If Justin wants to come back for the right price, I think we go ahead and we sign him because he's going to be looking for a decent payday. You know what I'm saying? He is. Right now, he's 4-2. He has that on his resume. He doesn't have a losing record this year. Um, he has played good for football for us now. His stats have not been through the window, but I think that if we lock down getting Justin Fields, then I mean, I don't know what way we gonna be able to bring back Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. But to be honest, Russell Wilson, I think that this would be his last rodeo. So hopefully we can get a Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Because I think that that'd be the perfect way for for Russell Wilson to say, you know what, I won the Super Bowl. I'm out of here. Thank you, Pittsburgh, for bringing me on. Get me another Super Bowl. It's a tough fleet. You may not ever get there, or even if he makes it to that game, to say, you know what, I'm walking off. I'm done. I did what I showed y'all. I came back. I bounced back. That's the perfect way to walk off. Um, if you ask me, for Russell Wilson, he's already got paid. his last big contract coming from Denver, and I just don't think that we should spend that kind of money right now on a guy unless we can get him on a 1-2 year deal. But we do have a dilemma because I think that I know that Justin Fields can play a lot better than what people are putting him on. We've seen that this year. Our offense kind of didn't move the ball, but then when we need to run the ball this year, we're kind of throwing Justin Fields in there. He adds another thing to our offense where you have to stack the box, where you have to pay attention to the running back, the quarterback as a runner, and then we have a running back to get the ball to, right? So I think if we keep Justin Fields, I think Justin will give us this will be his first big contract. So I think the market is the market, right? The market is the market. If we're not gonna pay Justin, then we gotta draft a quarterback. And I just don't think we're gonna find an athlete that we need at quarterback or that type of passer, you know, as Russell in the draft this year. It's going to be a guy that's going to build, and I think that we fall off in a major way. We take a dive. Um, so I would hope that Justin would give us some kind of a deal. Um, I know there he may be desirable to a couple teams. I think the Cleveland Browns may be looking to grab him up. Um, Cleveland may want to grab Justin Fields, but I think we keep Justin in Pittsburgh. That's me. I think that was our future when we went and traded for him from Chicago. I think that we keep Justin Fields right there in Pittsburgh. We sign him, give him the deal that he been looking for, give him a nice 4 year chunk of deal. Um, and we see where we go from there. And then we go wide receiver, running back in the draft. I think we re-sign our offensive lineman, we re-sign Justin Fields, and we go and then we look at I know Najee Harris is a beast. Najee Harris is an absolute beast. Um, I just kind of want to call it what it is right now. Jalen Warren has outperformed Najee a couple of games since Jalen Warren has played. He's come in. Najee had some good games. Najee had some good plays. He is a beast. He's tough to bring down. Um, But our offensive line, if we're not going to invest in the offensive line that Najee Harris needs to be able to get those one-on-ones with those linebackers and safeties, then we need to let Najee go. And right now, we don't have that kind of offensive line that Najee needs. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that Najee isn't a beast, but we got to make a choice between signing running back and a quarterback. And I'm gonna just be honest with you. I know that this year in the draft, running backs are loaded. We can, without a doubt, spend get a nice first round pick receiver, and then get a late second and a late second round pick at running back. I know for sure we can get two good guys at receiver and running back coming straight out of college. Yes, and I'm going to say this that we can replace Najee Harris with. Um, Do I just don't see the reason with Justin Fields and the divide. He's been in the league. Granted, it hasn't been the best, but you got to give some time. And I think that if he's never really had the same offensive coordinator 2 years on the road. If he's able to run this Arthur Smith offense next year in Pittsburgh, it's going to look totally different, revamped. He's going to be able to run it the way that he knows how to play the position at quarterback, which gives us a leg up in that position, right? And then all we need is extra help out on at a receiver and at running back. And in that case, we cannot go out and get just any old running back or wide receiver. We got to get a receiver or a running back with at a nice pick. We have to take chances. If we have to take chances and go and get a nice wide receiver, because all the good receivers are going to be gone quick and fast, and we have to get a guy that can get the job done. Who's that guy that I think that may be there? He may be there. May Xavier Restrepo from Miami. He's our guy. Xavier Restrepo is absolutely our guy from Miami. He's got everything we want to say about a Pittsburgh attitude. Coming from Miami, I know he's not used to the cold weather or whatever, but I don't think that there's many receivers, top receivers in college football right now that are used to the cold. Xavier Restrepo's 5'10", 198 he's from Florida. He's a Florida boy, but I think that that's something you got to be able to adapt to. Um unless we play this strategically and go and get a running back. Now, if we're gonna spend a first round pick on the receiver, I think Xavier Restrepo would be there. I would be shocked to see T Mac there, but if T Mac is there that late, then you go after T Mac. If Nick Nash is there late, then I think you go after Nick Nash. Um, if Trey Harris is there late, I think you go after Trey Harris from Ole Miss. I think his stock has dropped after he got his little injury, little bang up, but I think that's who you go after. You got to go after a guy like that, man. You can't afford not to, man. But with that being said, a sleeper, knowing us, we'll mess around and get a sleeper guy like Coleman Owen from Ohio, from the Ohio Bobcats. Played fantastic. He was productive this year, over 1,000-yard receiver. Um, 5'11", 191. Knowing us, we'll probably get an undrafted guy or somebody like that to show up. But I think if we're going to spend a first round pick on the receiver, I think you got to look at getting Xavier Restrepo. Man, I'm huge on Xavier Restrepo. He's the ultimate playmaker, man. He's the ultimate playmaker. Scramble drill rise. Um, I can see him and Justin Fields running the numbers up like crazy. I can see him going off in the NFL. He knows how to sit in the zones. Um, he knows defense, how to read the defense, how to sit and, like I said, and sit in the zones, play making plays, scramble drill rise. He's there a lot. As you can see, Cam Ward looks for Restrepo a lot, and that's a lot largely because the way he plays. Um, Now, if we're looking for a bigger type of guy, I think Andrew Armstrong, the senior from Arkansas, 6'4", 202. Um, and I think that's the way we're probably leaning more towards that, Jack. But I think Xavier Restrepo, I think he's a lock in pick for us, man. I think Xavier Restrepo is a lock pick for us, man, for real. I think you got to look at getting him from Pittsburgh for us. That's who I want anyway. So I think we got to look at him. But other guys like T Mac, Nick Nash, Andrew Armstrong, another big guy receiver on the outside. And we kind of went that route with getting Mike Williams, right? We just want some big possession type of guys with the quarterbacks that we had. Um, and I think with sure hands, and because we still got Roman Wilson, I hope that Roman Wilson would, turn into the guy with the scramble drill and being able to get open, and he'll develop some kind of chemistry and get more playing time next year. But a receiver that's going to come in, plug and play wise, you want to look at one of those bigger blocker type of guys. And Restrepo blocks too. That's another thing I like about Restrepo. He's blocking too. So hopefully we'll be able to snatch him up. But like I said, those are a couple guys there. And then at running back, I mean, it's just loaded. It's loaded with talent. Running back it's loaded with talent at running back in college football. Aston Genty, Omarion Hampton, RJ Harvey, Cam Scatterboo, Caleb Johnson, Taj Brooks. Um, it's loaded. Running back position in college football is absolute. I don't let me forget Kyle Mahogany from Rutgers. But if I'm looking at getting a running back, to be honest, and I like Jaquez Hunter from Auburn. I think he could have come out last year. Um, Jordan James from Oregon. You got to look at a guy like him, Jordan James from Oregon. I think he's a nice dual threat running back. Is Quentin Cooley from Liberty? Is he a senior? He's 5'7", 220. Um, from North Carolina, not from the cold. But if you want to get a player who's used to playing, I think Mahogany would be like our top guy. Kyle Mahogany from Rutgers, I think, would be the guy who we would be looking at, because he's coming out of the cold. You know what I mean? He comes from that type of environment. He's used to running in the cold, and I think that he'll be productive in with the Steelers and us and what we're able to do now. Looking at, like I said, I like Jordan James. Caleb Johnson would be the perfect fit, but I think he's going to come off the board super fast, super fast. I think I don't think he's going to sit on the board that long at all. But I also like Woody Marks from us, SC, and like I said, running back position. Who the guys who are training these running backs have been doing a phenomenal job, man. Because um the regimen that these athletes are put on is just outstanding, right? It's outstanding, man. What these guys have been able to do and get these guys ready for the draft, and the way that they're playing. I think you got Travion Henderson from Ohio State. He's an Ohio State guy. I think Quinshawn Junkins. I think he has another year, but Quinshawn Junkins could absolutely come out this year, I think, um, and get some NFL bread. But he'll probably stay just like the Penn State running backs. I think they'll probably stay with the NIL. Uh, I think Tyson Lawton, the running back from Indiana, I think he's okay. So, like I said, I think you'll be able to get a first round, second round pick. The pick who I think, and Donovan Edwards, right, from Michigan, used to the weather. Um, I think he'll definitely be there in the later rounds, because I mean, he'll go if he goes to the combine and he goes enter the draft, right? Donovan Edwards would be, I think, a great pickup. Didn't have that best of a year, but he's a great Swiss Army knife. Great Swiss Army knife. And he has some trouble with holding on to the ball, but I think that's something that we could fix on him. But there's so many running backs. I can go on a list on forever and forever with the running backs. Forever. I think there's a whole lot of running backs that can give us what Najee has given us. And I hate to say it like that, but I definitely believe that, y'all. I just hate to say it like that. I don't think that it's that great, but it's like that though. I think and there's just so many receivers, and I think there's some receivers you can get late too. Pat Bryant from Illinois, I think you can get him late. Um unless he goes to the draft, the combine and runs. Um and people like his speed, and I think he'll come off the board a little faster, but so it's really tough, but I think those are the two positions that we need. I think we got quarterback, but we definitely got to go with getting a back that could withstand that can look good in that run pass option with Justin Fields back there, and somebody who's going to be able to open up the field and be a threat besides with Calvin Austin and with George Pickens. With Calvin Austin, George Pickens, we need another guy who's going to be a threat for sure hands and going to be able to run the numbers up, because he's going to get his opportunity. We need a clutch type of guy. And it got to be one of the guys who's the top guys. Like, I don't think that you can't get, you got to get a Trey Harris, a Nick Nash, T Mac. You got to get one of those guys with for sure hands that clutch in college, Xavier Restrepo. We can't go after a guy at receiver, like, no disrespect to Pat Bryan from Illinois, because he's playing phenomenal. He had a phenomenal season, but and not to say he doesn't have it, but we got to go after a guy like that. I think receiver is what we go first. We break the mold. Normally we go after big guys and get our offensive linemen first. But I think that our offensive linemen, we resign those guys once again, like I said. Keep the chemistry there with the offensive line. Keep those guys working out. Those guys that's there. Get some of those rookies. Mix that offensive line up a little bit. Get hopefully some of those rookies just come up and start that we drafted, and then and solidify their positions. Young offensive line, gotta go tight end first. wide receiver. Gotta go receiver first. We got to try to get one of these top receivers. We got to. You gotta match up with George Pickens, and they gotta come in and they gotta be ready to ball. And I think either one of those guys will be ready. Nick Nash, like I said, big Nick Nash with his jumps and his hops. T Mac, I think is just awesome. I think he'll come in and he'll be able to provide something for us. Um, but all in all, over everybody, I'm sorry. I like Restrepo, man. I just think his I like Mbuka too, man. Don't get me wrong. I like Mbuka and what Mbuka is able to do on the field. I do like him, but I don't think that he'll be like I like Mbuka, man, and I'm kind of glad he didn't have a breakout season because to be honest, I know he's going to run fast in the draft, but I like him too. I like Mbuka from Ohio State, but as Restrepo, it just hands down like not just only statistically, but if you look at his play, man, he's always able to just he's so smart, man. He's so smart, man. But that's all for today, man. I've been kicking up 40 minutes, man, with Steelers talk, AFC North talk. Been here with Trucking Sports with Truck and Chubby. Like, share, subscribe. I appreciate y'all, man. Peace. I'm out of here. Gotta